Branded here, and I want to thank you for listening and tuning in. And the beautiful guest that I have this afternoon is a person that I have admired musically for all the contributions that she has made throughout her career and continuing. And with a brand new album, Songversation, that's been out for a little while, and it's one of the better songs and the best albums put together in 2013. And she is also brought to you by Soulbird.com, and you can follow her on Twitter at India.Arie. And without further ado, I have Miss Arie in the building this afternoon. My queen, hello. Hello.
Hello. That was a beautiful introduction.
Well, you know, I gotta tell you before I even start all the Q&As and all that good stuff that I have admired you for a very, very long time, because it's not a day that goes by where I just don't zone out to all things India.Arie. So I want to thank you for the bottom of my heart for letting us into your musical talents and your God's gifts. So thank you for being you.
Thank you for saying that, and thank you for listening, because as you know, and it's funny. This is so funny. Because I've been away from the music scene for the last 4 years and just came back. Conversation came out June 25th.
Right.
I grew as much as a person can grow in 4 years. Like, I really grew a lot and changed a lot, and I started being able to understand how some of the people who enjoy my music receive my music, because I was always just so busy. And
right.
And now I'm able to kind of like step, because I signed my record deal 15 years ago. And now I'm able to step back and kind of look at some of the things I've done and the places I've been. And I spent the last 4 years stepping back and looking at it. And so I realize now that when I hear someone say something like what you just said,
mm-hmm.
I need to hear those things, because it makes me know that God is answering the prayer that and the intention that I carry with my music. Because for a long time, I didn't know it was the ideal that it could, someone would enjoy it on a deeper level, that it could be a part of their heart life, that it was the ideal. But when people tell me things like what you just said, it makes all the hard and all the work worth it. So thank you.
I think your fan base can pay attention to not just the talent that you have, but the passion that you have too. Because you can have a whole bunch of talent in the world, but if you don't have that passion that goes along with it, your fan base will probably be very minimal, if not any, because you seem to love what you do, and you seem to have that drive to be able to put out not just the best music, but to carry it in such a way where people will never forget a lot of what you do. And for you to even say that, I mean, and that's giving back to us as fans and even the media people, because, in my opinion, I'm starving for it. I mean, your album that, like you said, came out in January, still in my car today, and it's still available so people can go on iTunes and all that good stuff and go pick it up. I mean, you continue that evolution to be able to give us good music, but you've grown so much, and it just seemed like, you can't do any better. Boom, there you go, Songversation. You just outdid the other thing that you did. So it's a surreal vibe to me. I mean, the move by you joint on the album, oh my God, like I just told you, I could zone out to you all day and be good. And that's what you give us. So I gotta thank you for that, though. I really do.
Thank you. And I think that being an artist is synonymous with being passionate. But what I think that a lot of artists don't have is a mission with their art.
Mhm.
And that's why I continue. I keep getting up. And nobody really ever knows any public person's real backstory. They might tell you things and about their thing, but you don't really know a person's backstory. And I don't assume that anyone knows mine. I've said a few things here and there in the last 6 months,
mm-hmm.
but there's a lot more to it than that. All human beings are dynamic and multidimensional. We all are. But
absolutely.
I said that to say that I keep getting up, and when I say getting up, I've fallen down really hard a lot of times over the years,
mm-hmm.
over a lot of different things. And I keep getting up, not just because I have a passion for music, because I can make music at home and just do it for myself and as a passion.
Right.
The mission with the music, that's what makes me getting up and wanting to do better with my music and wanting to do better as a person. Because I don't have children yet or a family, so I don't have that impetus to, work on myself. But all my adult life, my music has been that impetus and the mission that goes along with the music.
And does it take a lot of inner strength to even do that? Like you said, you could sit back and make music at home, and you can be content because it's what you do, it's what you love. But in order for you to share it with the public, who, as you all know, have a ton of different opinions, good, bad, or indifferent, it takes a lot of strength to be able to want to give that to people as a gift, right? In a lot of cases?
There are definitely times when it takes a lot. And there are other times when it's just natural. Like, okay, I got my album done. I want everybody to hear it. And you're
right.
Optimistic, bordering on naive, because you don't remember that people are going to say negative things. And there are those times, too. It's just like, I just am excited. But there are a lot of times when it takes a lot to pull it together just to get up there and sing. Being on television is so crazy. I'm not talking about being famous. I'm talking about actually doing things on TV. Because, I do concerts and stuff, but, like, doing stuff on TV is so crazy. It takes so much to pull yourself together, just the anxiety and everything, but you do it because it's your mission.
Right.
So there's a lot of moments that are like that, and it does take a lot of courage, and even more so when people are having a negative experience of you, like the Cocoa Butter single cover. That was like, okay, it's going to take me a minute to pull myself together, but I did, and it all went away. My reputation spoke for itself, which is a beautiful thing. But in the moment, I was like, whoa, like anxiety riddle. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? It was hard. And I was just trying to finish Songversation. I was trying to finish Songversation on the tail end of shelving another album. And then I'm like, I'm doing all this work, and I'm ready to give it out to the public. And then this thing happens. Like there's times when it's really hard, but you do it because it's who you are.
Yeah, and it's amazing. As India.Arie is our guest on the Afternoon Buzz, and as media folks, we tend to take you for granted. We take a lot of artists for granted for what you have now versus back then. And I know publicly, as far as the fan base and their reception to not just your album but your legacy. I mean, the moment you touch down and you set everybody with that plateau, not just with your voice but the way you carry yourself. And to me, I always feel like this, and I've always wanted to tell you this, seemed like for life. For a lifetime now, but the way you carry yourself makes you beautiful on the inside and out, just gorgeous. And you know how it is with so many women in India. They want to look the part on the outside and really don't have a lot to give you on the end. You embody both, and you set that standard without even have to dress yourself down or do a lot of different things. So, I mean, for the women out there, it's still relevant to be treated fairly because of how you are on the inside out first, right? That still happens to this day and age, right? We haven't completely disappeared.
Thank you for saying that. And I would add to that all human beings are greater than the sum of their parts. We all are. And I think that the issue is how much of our power we give over to media images. And so we let it define us in our private lives. Right. And, I mean, I guess I do it, too, being in the public eye. And I went through health issues last year where my whole face broke out. And it was hard to think that somebody would catch me and see it. But, if I were not a public person, it probably wouldn't have been as much of an issue. So I'm not saying I don't have those issues. But what I do know is that all anyone can really do is be themselves. And if you be yourself with the foundation of knowing that everybody's not going to like you and that people who do, that's your gift. If you do it from that place, it takes away a lot of the need to be accepted. And then that gives you a greater capacity for living in the moment and just engaging people. And not even worrying about what they think of you. You just engage people, and whoever is your people, who your people are, they'll come to you. And who's not your people, they don't have to come to you. And I think for me in my career, because, I mean, that's also an interpersonal commentary, like just how you can deal with people. But for me in my career, I've never tried to get anyone to, I put my music out there and pray. Like, I literally pray all the time. I pray for each song and for my albums and for my shows. And I always pray that God will touch whoever needs to be touched with it. I'm not trying to make anybody like it. I'm not trying to force my hand or whatever that stuff people do. I'm not trying to do that. I just want to make the music, and I hope that God will bring it to a person's attention. And so even when it comes down to the way I dress and all of that, I just do what I love. And I had no idea that anyone would like it. Like that, because I asked my assistant last night. We were just sitting around, like, just talking and making jokes. And I said, because I'm so excited about this James Baldwin documentary, right? And I'm like, excited like it's the new Michael Jackson album from the 80s or whatever. And I said, am I a nerd? And she said, no, you're not a nerd. You are kind of old-fashioned. And I said, well, that's a good thing. She said, I mean, who wears ankle-length dresses to the club, India? Because I went to see Brandy the other night and had on a pink ankle-length dress. And I was like, well, that's what I wanted to wear. I'm just being me, right? Because it was a white part, like all the girls had on white. And I was like, well, I'm going to wear all pink because I can. And it was down to my ankle, and, I felt like a missionary, but whatever.
Yeah, but see, India, that's the thing that sets you apart for so many people. Is like you don't have to go in being the quote-unquote norm for most people. You can go in and just be you. You don't follow trends. And that seemed like a lot of people tend to do that more so now than ever before because, I came up from that age like you where we all had our individual ways and how we dress, how we look, what we say, how we conduct ourselves. And it just seemed now more than ever, everybody wants to follow a trend instead of actually creating your own in music or personal.
Yeah. But I wonder, I don't know if it's everyone's spiritual pact to be a trendsetter, and I don't know that I consider myself that. I'm just accepting your compliment, but I think that every person's job, if you will, on earth is to be themselves. And so even if you are following a trend, if it's not really you, it's not something that you really like, you're not being you. And your job is to be you. And I think it's smart business to follow trends, but I think it's a smart way to live your life, to be yourself. And so I choose my real life over business, and I'm thankful to God that I've been able to blend the two. And I could obviously be a much wiser known artist and things like this. I made different decisions, but my real life comes first. So.
And I think for your fans and for myself, I think that's the best way to go because, again, look at your body of work and your legacy that you've created and still creating with Songversation, which is out now. You can pick it up on iTunes and go ahead and support this young lady by going to soulbird.com. And on the 24th, you're going to be in my area, San Francisco, at the Warfield. So I'm looking forward to seeing you. I've seen you perform once before in my lifetime, so it'll be a good look to be able to see you in action again because the people out there that don't know, India.Arie can tear down the show. And when I say tear down the show, she can deliver. Quote me on that, people. Quote me.
And the stage is my world. And I make records, and I'm learning how to make records. It took me a long time. I went through a lot of agony over making records. I just didn't know how. But being on stage was always really natural for me because I'm comfortable being myself. And so I talk to the audience. I just be myself. And sometimes you get on stage and you're not feeling it that day. And I've been known to tell the audience, this is where I'm at today. I'm going to do this kind of show. Are y'all with me? And people never say no when you're on it.
Right.
So, stage, that's my world. As much as anybody has ever heard my recordings, I would love if you came to see me live. That's what I really feel like I really do, is fellowship with people through music, which is why the album's called Songversation. So, thank you.
Come on, India. It's like I said, it just seemed like I've known you through music a lifetime, so it's just, and I love your team to death, and they're real big on communication and just kind of letting everything fall in its place. And I got to tell you that when Songversation came out, and like I said, I have CDs on top of CDs, and following you on Twitter and all that good stuff, it just seems like I know you. Like this new album is incredible, and I definitely need people out there to go get it. So my question to you, young lady, is social media. How do you feel about everything that's kind of out there? I know it could be a blessing and a curse, but what are your thoughts in regards to just the way the music market has been ran through social media nowadays?
I mean, I think like everything else, like you said, it has its upside and downside, like everything else. I think, Honestly, I don't have a big answer for that. There are things that I can't stand about social media. There are things that I love about social media. Like the other day, I went on Twitter, and I just was walking through my living room and was like, I want to talk to Chuck D. Because I admire him, and I admire his point of view on things. Like, it was just like that. And
Right.
I just DM'd him, can I call you? Like, I love that about social media, you know, and I love being able to have a platform. The issue is that then it becomes, we are now an actual global community. And so you're going to be coming up against a bunch of other, you know, such a variety of philosophies, life philosophies, as displayed through people's posts, and sometimes they're longer writings, and, you know, and sometimes people, you know, you rub against people's philosophies. They rub against yours, and it can be irritating, but you know, I guess I don't have a big answer for that. I think it's neat. I think it's irritating. I think that it's obviously a sign of the times, you know what I mean? A sign of the times of where we are.
Right.
And as far as the music is concerned, I think it's really cool to be able to be like, I just want to talk to Chuck D, and to actually reach out to you. Or when Songversation came out, Donald Lawrence tweeted me a lot, and I don't really know him, but I love the idea that he was moved by Songversation, that he could just reach out. I think it's so cool. I think that's so cool. And I could imagine just being a fan of someone and having them RT you. It's so fun. Like, sometimes I just go on my phone and just RT people, because I'm like, this is going to make this 16-year-old girl so happy, and all I got to do is push a button. That is so cool. That's cool. You know,
well,
right?
That interaction is important, and like you said, just being able to just, you know, change somebody's life. I mean, you know, you're on the line right now. You changed mine, but you changed a whole bunch of other people too, just by your voice in general. So, I mean, you do that through music, and now with social media, I feel like this is the blessed part of it all. And, of course, like you said, there's also the drawbacks too. But, you know, I look at more of the good than the bad. A lot of people use it for evil, but, you know, hey, whatever. You got to take advantage of the positives, though.
Yeah, you can choose what you want to feed yourself.
Exactly. And before we let you go, Songversation, when the album came out and the reception that you've gotten has been extremely positive, what did you take away with your project in general, with this one? What will make the new people that's just now tuning in, that, you know, is trying to get to know India.Arie for the very first time, what can you tell them about this album that's just going to make them go ahead and just soak it all in, so they can be able to experience India till its full potential? Like that, huh? Like that, huh?
I mean, it's hard asking someone to compliment themselves, you know what I mean? But
True.
One thing that I feel, I mean, we all, how can I say this? There's so much happening in popular music culture and popular culture in general. So much of it. And matter of fact, I think I might paraphrase Stevie Wonder, because he called me shortly after Songversation was released, and I picked up the phone. He didn't even say hi. He just said, I love it. And then he said, you know, there's so much going on in popular culture with reality TV and hip-hop wives this, and, you know, all the different videos and the take that our 20-something people are taking on popular culture life. And his words were, you know, a lot of it is just so negative.
Right.
And he also used the word, that word just skipped my mind. He used the word, that word just flashed in my mind. I might come back to that. He used another word that meant basically low value, base. He used base. And he said a lot of it is negative and a lot of it is very base. And what he said, what I like about your album is that it's current, and it also is socially responsible, and it's also touching.
Right.
And I think that, you know, it's cool if you want to watch Hip Hop Wives, but I think that something like Songversation is a balance to that. It's more about high spiritual ideals, and it's not religious. It's about the human experience, of which we all share.
Right.
And it's about and we'll all share it until we pass up out of here. Like, it's the basic, fundamental, you know, that's what my intention is. And my mission statement is to spread love, healing, peace, and joy through the power of words and music. So if you're looking for something that will just make you feel good and remind you of a more grounded point of view of life and of relationships and of sexuality and of spirituality and, just how we relate to each other as humankind. If you're looking for a more grounded representation of that, more than this nasty stuff on TV, more than the stuff that makes you cringe, just something that's grounded. That's what I do. And I obviously am not going to say that I think you'll love the music. I love it. I put everything into it. And I think if a person just gives it a listen, they'll know right away whether it's for them or not, because the point of view musically is so strong. So it's honest, and if it's for you, you'll know. But I would just love anyone to just give it a listen, because my intention is contribution to the listener. That's why I make music.
And I think in a world filled with chaos, and this is extreme order, and I'm calling it as I see it out there, not just to you, Queen India, but also the listeners, that this is a new classic, and it's a new classic not just because you're on the line with me. It's because you are able to, you could tell that where this came from. This came from your heart, from your soul. You could tell when you listen. When I heard "Moved by You," like I said, that did something, that stirred something inside me. I didn't know what it was, but it stirred something to the point where it's just like, oh my God. And it's a lot of songs off this album that's, I feel like, is important, not just for me personally, but for a lot of other people to kind of reach within themselves to be able to pull it. And I always listen to how it's put together, and I just really and truly think that this is a new masterpiece that people need to pick up, and it's beyond relevant to the point where I just have to, hats off to you. So I wanted to close by letting you know that it's, in my opinion, a new classic. So thank you, Queen India.
Thank you. From your mouth to God's ears.
Sober.com is the website where you can be able to check out all things India.Arie, and I want to thank you for blessing me and the listeners this afternoon with everything that you have, and continue. And, I'm going to hit you on Twitter anyway, so I'm going to definitely say hi. And then on the 24th, when you're at the Warfield in San Francisco, got you covered there. I'll make sure I'll be there with my pom-poms on and showing my support.
Okay, make sure you say hi, too.
You better believe it. I'll make sure I stay in touch with your people, and I'll let you know exactly where I'm sitting at and where I'll be. So thanks again from the bottom of my heart.
I want to tell you one more thing.
Sure.
Can I tell you one more thing before we go?
Absolutely.
First of all, you're welcome, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for your kind words today. This has been cool. And I want to say that Songversation is an album that is about the highest vision for humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're a person who wants to listen to something that celebrates you and the best of what we can be, that is what Songversation is intended to be.
There you go.
Yeah.
By Queen India. Thank you, my dear.
Thank you.
All right. Have a blessed one. That is the beautiful, the talented India.Arie on the Afternoon Buzz.